Greetings everyone, my name is Raziel and today I am once again honored to reveal some cards for you. This time we are looking at the Salamanders, the second wave of the Dropsite Massacre expansion, which are going to be releasing on Friday. With that, let's get into the first card. The first card I have for you is the Fire Drake Master. 7 energy Astartes with 7 attack, 7 health and Survivor 2, as well as the battle honor to create a random artifact in your hand. This card is pretty meh. I don't think you're going to be playing this in any kind of deck, simply because, as with many 7 energy troops and more expensive troops, you play it for 7 energy, it does nothing the turn you play it, and then you have to pray that it doesn't get removed, and if it gets removed, it did nothing, and you wasted your entire turn, and that can be very deadly in the late game. So maybe an event, but in general I don't think this card is going to be that great. The second card I have for you is Hammer of Destruction, a 7 energy tactic that says destroy an enemy troop, but it also costs 1 energy less every time you play an artifact. This card is pretty standard removal for the most part, so it starts at 7 energy, it gets lower when you do what they want you to do with the faction, similar to cards like Vicious Strike from the World Eaters, Death Begets Death from the Death Guard. So yeah, not much to say about this. It's going to be a staple because this is probably going to be the best Hachi removal you're going to get, unless we get Hachi removal artifacts. But again, those are going to be like create random artifacts, so it's not going to be reliable. Yeah, you're going to be playing this, but not much to say about it. The next card I have for you is the Pyroclastic Fist, a 4 energy artifact that says 4 damage to a random enemy and stunned. So 4 energy for 4 damage, that's good, and stun on top of that, that's awesome, but random target. Why does it have to be random target? That essentially ruins the card for me, because consistency is key. That's why you're mostly playing 2 copies of cards. But if you have random targeting stuff, it needs to be pretty damn good to be able to justify running this. Obviously you're not running this, you're generating this, but why would you want to generate a random targeting damage artifact for 4 energy? At this point you're probably gonna need to essentially clear all enemy troops, then you can play this to deal 4 damage and stun the enemy warlord. That's obviously good. But at that point you've already won anyways, I assume. So it's not the worst artifact, don't get me wrong, but it could definitely be better. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of these random targeting stuff. It's unnecessary, but maybe it would be too strong with the other artifacts and synergy cards. Maybe we get like legendary troops that says artifacts are free or something like that. So again, I don't know, but to me this looks pretty underwhelming. The next card I have for you is the Flame Projector, a 3 energy artifact that says give +3 attack to a friendly unit until your next turn. To a friendly unit includes your warlord, that's obviously nice, so it can be pretty devastating if you combine this with Orders from Terror or Khorne's Favor, or any other, like old Salamanders had like Dawnbringer, which would buff the warlord attack, so you can probably build a pretty decently big warlord that can attack twice with these cards. That's obviously pretty good, but it also lasts until your next turn, so it can also be used defensively to make the opponent think twice before attacking your warlord or other units. One thing that's coming to my mind immediately is gonna be Nomus, because I don't think we're gonna get teachings in this expansion, and all teachings rotate out, so they obviously have to change Nomus. And if they change him to get frontline on an artifact, I think this one is going to be pretty good for him, because you're essentially going to be able to have a 5 attack warlord with frontline, which is going to make dealing with cards like Niora super annoying. And if you look at my next card, you're going to understand why this card is potentially really, really strong. But yeah, I think this card has a lot of potential. Definitely better than the Pyroclastic Fist in my opinion. And finally, we have Medicare Redeem. 4 energy Astartes with 3 attack, 5 HP and Survivor 2. That has the passive ability to heal 2 to all your other units when you play an artifact. The fact that he says to all your other units makes me think they finally realized why cards like Apothecary Larsak from the World Eaters were so broken, because they affected themselves. At least this guy doesn't heal himself, so it's not as great as he could have been. But I still think that he's going to be pretty strong, especially in Nomus. So when we come back to the Flame Projector I showed you, you play this guy, and you like assuming enormous gains frontline when you play an artifact, you're gonna be playing the Flame Projector on Nomus. Now he has 5 attack. Your opponent won't like attacking him, and he also gets healed for 2 because of the Medicare, which also heals potentially other troops that are damaged. Like if you have a Niora that got attacked and survived because of Survivor, now she's gonna be healed by 2. So this is strong. I don't think you're gonna miss out on this card. Definitely not a Nomus. I don't know any of the Warlords, obviously. Maybe they're not gonna be that important for him. But looking at this guy, I think that at least Nomus is gonna be pretty well off in the upcoming meta. So yeah. So that's it for my reveals. I think the Salamanders are looking pretty promising, just like the Iron Hands. I'm not sure if I like the artifact mechanic yet or not. The ones I've seen, like these two, are looking fine. 3 and 4 energy looks kind of expensive. I don't know if you want to be generating a lot of artifacts, because if you have like 5 artifacts in your hand and they all cost 4 or more energy, it's gonna be pretty hard to get rid of them. So hopefully we see some that are like cheaper, like 2 energy, 1 energy, maybe even 0 energy. They do seem to be kind of all-rounders, so we compare them to the Iron Hands. The Iron Hands Augmetics were obviously all buff cards that improve your troops, but if we look at the artifacts, we've already seen, at least I've seen, the temporary buff with the Flame Projector, but also a damage card in the Pyroclastic Fist, so maybe they're going to be a pretty solid faction all around that's not just focused on building a board and buffing the board and then winning because your opponent can't handle your tempo. Obviously, I don't know. This is just my gut feeling. I think they are looking pretty promising. So yeah.